Hello everyone, welcome to Move Well, Live Well. We've been getting a number of people coming in here with issues, the big questions coming up with issues with their back. And the big issue that we're seeing is they're having problems with core stability. And how do I exercise my core? And what we're finding with these folks is they're having an inability or a disconnect in how to activate their core muscles. Now, a lot of people think that if they're working their abs or doing endless crunches, that they're working their core. Well, yes and no. Your core, just like the core of an apple, if you take an apple from top to bottom, through the middle of the apple, from top to bottom, that's the core of the apple. All the way through the apple is your core, not just the center. A lot of people think that the core is your abdomen because that's kind of where the center of gravity is. Well, yes and no. It's part of your core, but really your core starts from the top of your head, through your skull, down your neck, through your spine, and then out your tailbone. That's your core. And so a lot of people get kind of confused and they start working their core with endless crunches and leg lifts and all kinds of stuff, trunk twists, in an attempt to strengthen their core. Now, so what's happening with these folks, they're doing these endless things and really they're kind of missing the point in what it means to stabilize your core. So they're getting issues and then they go to lift something out of the car and then their back goes out and they go, "What? My core is supposed to be strong. My abs are strong, but yet I still have back problems. What's going on here?" Or they'll go to, just take off their shirt and then they put it over there or something like that and their back goes out. Go, "Wait a minute, I'm supposed to be strong. I'm doing core exercises." Well, what we're finding is they're just having problems with actually just stabilizing their spine and putting their spine in a good position. So here's one easy technique that you can do to start activating that core. Really, it's activation of the transverse abdominis. Now, what's the transverse abdominis, or TVA for short? The transverse abdominis is the innermost layer of the abdominal wall. And it wraps around, kind of like if you've been to the gym, you see these guys and they put that weight belt on. They put that weight belt. And what that weight belt does, it helps to stabilize the spine in the lumbar region. Well, that's what essentially the transverse abdominis does. The transverse abdominis is our own natural weight belt. Now, what we're finding with these folks, they're having a problem activating that. So then when they go do their activities, as simple as sometimes sneezing or tying their shoe, and their back goes out because they're unable to stabilize. They're unable to stabilize that low back, that part of their spine in the low back, and their back goes out. So how do we activate the transverse abdominis? Yes, you sometimes activate it with endless crunches and that type of thing, but the best way to activate it, to really feel what that transverse abdominis does, the best way to do it is this. So what you do, see if I can get this video here. You get up on all fours just like this, okay? And then you want to find what we call neutral spine. Now, what the heck is neutral spine? Neutral spine is that kind of midway point where you're not in extension. It's the midway point between hyperextension and flexion. So right here in between, you can kind of do this. What you do is you put your thumb up against your sternum here, or xiphoid process, your sternum. You can put one kind of just a little bit below the belly button, and you want to keep your palms horizontal. As soon as the palms start to do that, so this is extension. This is extension. And now you're in extension. The horizontal part of your palms are no longer in horizontal, and you go into extension. If you're in flexion, you see now your palms are approximating each other, and they're no longer in that horizontal plane. So in between there, so in between extension and flexion, right about here for me is neutral spine. So you're gonna find that neutral spine. You're gonna get up on all fours just like this. And you're gonna do what we call the drawing in maneuver. Now what the heck is the drawing in maneuver? The drawing in maneuver is just that. So you're gonna have your belly button here. That's the best kind of way to describe this. But you have your belly button, right here is for me, and you draw in. Let's do a side view so you can kind of see. So you stick your belly out, and then you put your finger kind of your belly button to kind of give you a little bit of proprioception against it, and then you draw in. See that? So belly out. There's no stability here now. As this is pushed out like this, there's no stability, and my spine, my lumbar spine, is now vulnerable when I move. But if I draw in, see that? I draw in. Now the transverse abdominis contracts. It's like our own natural weight belt. It contracts. Those fibers tighten up. They tighten up in there, up against the vertebra of our low back. They tighten it up and they stabilize it. So without drawing in, you got the fibers of muscle fibers of your low back. It's actually the thoracolumbar fascia. I don't know if you can see this here. I'm gonna bring you guys this way so you can kind of see. So essentially what we're trying to do by this drawing in maneuver, you see this white fascia in through here? This is the thoracolumbar fascia in through there. And the transverse abdominis muscle, what it does, it tightens up that thoracolumbar fascia and up against the spine and stabilizes it. It's kind of like the guy wires on a mast of a ship. As those guy wires tighten down, then those the mast of the ship is now stabilized. So imagine that. So here we are. You're going to do the drawing in maneuver. So you kind of, if you want to practice this, you let the belly kind of hang out a little bit. You put your finger on the belly button, and then you draw in. See that? And you can feel this part of your torso, this part of your abdominals, tighten up in through here. And it stabilizes the low back. So, in a side view again, you let the belly hang out, find that neutral spine, you let the belly hang out, and then you draw in. See that? And it's drawn in. And it tightens it up. You can feel, when you practice this, it tightens up. You can feel the tightness in through here. And then, over time, you'll be able to start to draw in automatically when you do your exercises. For instance, if you're doing a bench press or something like that, you automatically draw in, and then you go for a bench press. Or you do a pull-up, you automatically draw in. Or, before you sneeze, you know, you do this so often, your body responds it becomes a habit, and it's an automatic response, and it draws in and protects your spine from damage. Another way to really feel this muscle is to actually get on all fours. I was doing that before we went into the anatomy, but if you go on all fours here, you find that neutral spine. So for me, right about here is that neutral spine. Remember, this is extension, lumbar extension, and this is flexion. So right halfway in between, about right there, is, you see how my back is kind of, you got that little bit of a curve, but we don't want to go into extension. So right in through here, that's a neutral spine. Let me tilt this down a little bit. There. And so, I let the belly hang without losing neutral spine, so let the belly hang. And now, I draw in. You see how my fingers lift up towards my spine. And man, I can really feel that contraction of the transverse abdominis in there. You may even feel as you do this exercise or this technique here to get that transverse abdominis activated, you'll feel tightness in through here. And believe it or not, you may be a little sore later on in the day from doing this, from activating that transverse abdominis. So, Again, what we're seeing is these folks are working their core, and typically what they're doing is just kind of traditional abdominal exercises like crunches, leg lifts, stuff like that. And then they're wondering why they're still injuring their back, even though their core is strong, their abdominals are strong. Yes, abdominal work does help, but really what they're missing is they're missing activating that transverse abdominis, our own natural weight belt. And if we can activate that, it tightens up the lumbar spine, it tightens up that core, at least this part of the core. And when you go to do your movements, getting things out of the trunk, getting your groceries and that type of thing, as you go to do those, if you're able to activate that transverse abdominis naturally, and it becomes a habit, it just becomes easier, and now your spine is a nice stable position. You won't get any back issues. If you have any questions with this video, just drop them off in the comment section below. We thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and share with others so that way other people can benefit from this video. And when you hit subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notifications button, and that way you don't miss any subsequent videos here in the future. Again, we thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.